Hey guys, welcome back to the farm. Hey, I want to give you a rundown on my wood burning setup and how I heat this shop, 2,000 square foot, and my old schoolhouse, 2,500 square foot. You can see what we're dealing with. Extremely mild winter so far. We had 2 weeks that was very cold and -10 blowing, but since then it's like 40 degrees today. I'm struggling. Usually this is unmarked up at all, hard as a rock. Well, I buy a load of wood every year. This past load was $1,300. I've gotten through most of it. What you're seeing is a load from last year, a partial load. That was a full 20 cord. And I think that was $2,600. Didn't burn at all. And this was 13. So let's keep our math and our pencils ready. That's some oak that it needs to be split. That didn't come with it, but that'll be some good stuff if it ever got really cold. But now I'm struggling out here with the skid steer. I take the skid steer from the farm. I come in here at the pallet forks and I just flip it over. Now you see this wood I've got here cut. This is probably a good month's worth of wood. So we're sitting pretty good. I had a schedule. This is a WoodMaster 4400. I got some stats on it. I found the owner's manuals in pristine condition. This heats up to 5,000 square foot. Now when I got this, I didn't realize I was going to put a massive barn attached to the house and insulate it and heat it, but I did. That's the way some things work out. This is rated at 5,000 square foot. I'm heating close to that, and it's doing a darn good job. Now she eats wood. Don't get me, feel that door. That feels nice and warm. Don't get me wrong. She eats wood, but to heat this with propane, that's what I had. It would hurt you, and it hurt you bad. When I didn't have this barn when I first moved in here, had this house since I was 19 years old. That was 20. Well, that's 20, going 23 years now. You know, and I updated the windows and did some remodeling, so it's a little tighter, but still, I kept it at 60 degrees, and I was spending $4,500 a year on propane, keeping it at 60 degrees. So I can tell you, it ain't gonna take too much to figure out that the wood heat, even though you're buying it, pays off. A little bit of work. You can take off your gym membership for all the extra work of cutting, stacking, and loading. So there's your exercise. You can take off $1,500 a year on that if you're going to the gym. It might even be more than that these days, but no gym membership with the farm. So anyway, 14 years ago I bought this, and it was $6,500 total. I'll never forget it. I was looking back and I said, you know, that was when you could save money. I was 28 years old, and I remember I was fighting it because I knew it was going to be a lot of every day you were going to have to feed this. Commitment. So, you know, I was young yet, wasn't married, no kids. I don't know. And then finally I went to my brother's house down yonder. Now you look, there's no real tree line here. Down for 2 miles, 2.5 miles probably. Old schoolhouse, 1912. It's like an old farmhouse. Typically, wind gusting around here. I mean, like I say, mild winter right now, but wind gusting, it'll freeze you. So you almost need one of these. It's perfect for my setup, milking the cows, and I can check it. When it was 10 below, I was filling this every 12 hours, okay? But in this weather, only once a day. I come in here once a day and do it. What do we got? See, and there's a little bit in there, and that's from last night. That is from last night. I'll get done cleaning this up. I'm gonna cut some of this up and then we'll stack it. But that's how I do it. I just drop it here, and there's your wood burner, 5,000 square feet. Now how these work, it's got a blower that shoots out of there. See that hole? Well, that's your exterior blower. The blower's in there, and I've had to replace that. Don't get me wrong, I've had to replace that, but that fuels the logs. It blows right in there, and you can fill that thing right up. And it's set at 170. If you can look, it says 163 right there right now. That fan's gonna kick on at 160 thermostat, and it'll fuel it till it hits 170, and then it'll shut off. We're gonna take you in the barn and the house. I'm gonna show you how it works, but there's pipes here. They tunnel in from underground. I've got them into the garage, one set, and then inside the garage under the cement, running all the way the length of that house. Now, that stuff's expensive. It's four inch, pretty much 4-inch spray foam tile with with 2 water lines in it, and that's just water's just pumping in and going through and pumping out, and it's just circulating, kind of like how your heaters in your cars work. I had this off. I'm gonna show you what it looks like back here. I see cobwebs and extremely dry, and that's what you want. This is a return line. Here's your pump. Pump's very hot, it's vibrating, I can feel it, and it just goes through, and it's gonna come back and go through there and into the tank. Here's mine. This is the one that runs my barn. This one doesn't circulate as far because it's, you know, it's right there. But yeah, it just hooks up to 110. There's a spider, hooks up to 110, and that's it. Your water, your fill cap. I fill it from inside the house. Actually, I've got it plumbed where I can fill it in my basement, and I'll show you. That's how you want to hook them up. But there's your WoodMaster, and I like it. I've known guys that put these inside of a building. I like it out here because you can keep the door open, you can heat your hands up, you can hang out. And this wood's pretty wet. That's the first year I've ever had to tarp that wood because of all the rain we've been getting. The United States has been getting rain like you wouldn't believe. So I think I'm going to end up burning most of this wood. It's only early February, so I'm just picking away at it. I'm bringing it in a little at a time, once a week, twice a week, and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to probably stack all this area up if I have to, fighting the mud. But I actually might be getting another load. Now we've got some woods over yonder attached to some parcels, but it's been picked dry pretty good because at one time both my brothers were burning, now just the one's burning, myself and him. But you can't beat this. You cannot beat it when it gets dropped right next to your house and you just cut it. And they're like in 10-foot lengths or 9. Cut them twice and there's like a 2-3 foot log. This thing will put in some hefty big boy logs, but what I like is they're not too big. You don't get them much bigger than this. So I'm getting older, I don't want to hurt my back. So there's a couple bigger ones than that other load. Thought I'd touch on this saw. I'm using Husqvarna 372 XP commercial grade. Mean SOB. This is actually my buddy's. He used to be a wood cutting machine super trucker. You've seen him on the channel. He's in hibernation right now. And since he don't cut anymore, he wants me to run it so she don't get all gummed up. But that thing rips and runs. You got to watch that thing. What you do, you rake these coals forward like that. Get this this tool, and then we're gonna fill her up for the night. Got that door up, make sure she's turned on, and she's about to turn on. She's drawing heat. She's down to 161. Wife keeps it pretty warm in the house, 73. I keep that barn going pretty good too, but you'll hear it. We'll wait here a second. It'll automatically snap. There's a magnetic solenoid down there that raises and it lifts up that flapper on the blower, and it just fuels it. There it went, and there she goes. And she's just gonna fuel them coals down there coming out of that blower. Let's head in. Walking by mom's tree. All the leaves are off. We've got some good growth. See how she pans out this coming year. Turn these lights on in here. Yeah, this is that big barn. Here's the owner's manual. Proven performance, reliability, and savings. I'll tell you, it was a great investment. Like I said, I started a story out there. I remember when I was gonna put one of these in, and $6,500. But when you're young, no kids, single, I knew I could save. I saved it up in a couple months. Here's what heats the shop. That little square. It's basically it's just a big. It's called a heat exchanger, but it's a radiator. The heat is going in. Now them lines, they came in from the basement. I had to run them up. They're coming out of here. You know, that's hot. That's copper. 160 degrees. The stove is still fueling. It'll be 170 soon. Going in and out. My father-in-law hooked this up. This is rated for 2,000 square foot. So it's the real deal. And that's 220 I had ran there when I had this place built. Not knowing why I did it, but it ended up working out. See, this is on. It's at 50 degrees. 55. And that turns on, and that being 220, excuse me, she's quiet. She's quiet. You can feel that heat just coming right at you. Got a fan installed here that will kick on. If it gets real cold, it'll help circulate it. But for the most part, this baby's spray foamed all the way around. Blown in ceiling, 14-foot ceiling. It's a big sucker. And it stays pretty warm. You know, you'll bring a car in with snow and it'll melt it right off. Here's my studio. You guys have seen this. There's a picture of Mom on the wall. She's always watching over us. Hey, I've got a heater in here when I'm in here working, because there's no way that that's gonna get through this wall. The guy that I built this helped me build it was Jim Groskoff. Ended up being a good buddy, became good buddies with him. But he said, you got a bathroom in here, you got your office, you're gonna need a wall heater in there. That's hooked up to 110, ran the breaker box. That was a good deal. You hire someone that knows how to do stuff. He laid out that loft area. He's got separate lights on up there. I'm giving you kind of a little shop tour, but he's got all them lights on different switches for bays. And then you've got your bathroom. And now this bathroom, the heater is on. I keep it warm in here and I keep this door shut. He taught me a lot when he built this. He was telling me, when I come out to my bathroom, I want my toilet seat hot. And so he's like, there's no way any heater you put in here is gonna keep that warm. It's just not how it's gonna work. So that I keep shut. But yeah, she's on, she's warm, spray foam. Like I said, I never thought I'd end up with something like this. Honestly, an office and a bathroom and a shop, completely finished like this. It's just the way it worked out. I just kept on grinding and hoping and praying, and it's just had the right woman, found the right woman, and that helped. Kind of a mess right now. Let's head into the house. I'll show you how I got the thermostat set up. But anyway, that ties into there, and underneath here is where them lines are running into my basement. It's a long run, 100 and some bucks. That stuff was 10, 12 bucks a foot. I had to rebuy that. I ended up moving this. I had moving the stove. I had a smaller garage here I tore down, and the stove was probably right here. Because there's the house foundation. Jim built me this too, but there's a house, the original foundation, the end of the house is right here. So that's where I had to run that line in. That was 1,200 bucks or something just for that line, but I'll take you in there. And we're in, whoa, and like right on cue, they knew we were coming, didn't they? Hey, Sammy. Cowbell. Guys, we're clean. I've got my gear on, but we're gonna come in anyway. We're fairly clean. Big grand snap in summer. Sammy's got a little tear in her eye. How you doing? How you doing, Mom? Good. I'm gonna talk about the wood burner. We're gonna see what kind of temperature he got it at. See, I've got two thermostats in here. See, 73 degrees. I think this thermostat actually can run both, where you could just turn the fan off or just run the fan, because all it's running in this furnace is the fan. But at the time, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, honestly. 14 years ago. So we put this in. This runs just the fan, and this bottom one is in case the wood burner did go out and it goes down to a certain temp, the furnace will actually go on. But the furnace, so all you're using on the furnace is the blower. Going down, basement's down here, 1912 schoolhouse. These are the original steps. I peeled off layers of carpet and they look like this. Well, I had to sand them down, and then I put some type of clear coat on them. I think those are pine, but man, they're original. And here's the house back in 1960. I think that's a Cadillac. See, there was a barn on the north side. There's nothing there now. But yeah, that's what she looked like. It goes to show you guys, you work on something long enough. You got a good foundation. This place always had a good foundation, and you can make it pretty nice. And we're in, and we're working around. It's kind of dark. I don't have a light in this area, but these lines, see these lines? Extremely hot. They come from way over. I ran them right up here, and then this is a Y here. This cable is how I feed it. There's a valve right here. I don't know how well you can see that, but I've got a heat exchanger for the hot water. This hot water is unbelievably hot. And all that does is it helps the hot water heater out. It doesn't take over for it, but you just burn less. Like right now it's running. I can hear that's gas running. So I do run some propane through that in my dryer, but it really supplements that heat. You're talking hot water. So you gotta kind of be careful with that. It's almost too hot if you didn't know what you were doing. But the heat exchanger Slides right in here. I cut a hole right in my plenum, my furnace, and you slid it in, and that looked like another radiator, like I got hanging in the garage. It looks very similar to that, except without the fan. Slides in there, one goes in, one comes out, extremely hot, and the fan blows it. But if you look in this furnace, there's no, the burners do not light. Got a little wet down here. It's what these temperatures, these ditches and stuff. This is my old uniforms. Got my uniforms hanging strong down here. Coming back through the kitchen. One other thing to note about all original, these floors are all original. There was about 3 different coats of linoleum. I told her I got some water on my boots, but all these, the whole house is 1912 hardwood flooring. Back outside, the remainder of the snow is melting. Yeah, hard to believe this was a school, isn't it? Did a lot of work to put an overhang on their deck. They tied that barn right in with that breezeway, but I'll show you the propane tank I used to keep on demand, you know, or to keep on hand for my dryer. It's not a big, it's one of them smaller tanks. I can't remember the size, but it's just a little dinky one, and they fill that a couple times. But that wood burner up here in Michigan, it's mild right now, but we burn wood, shoot, I mean, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, almost through June. Beginning of June, maybe you kick it out. So I mean, that's 8 months. I'm glad I put it in. I think you guys would agree. The initial setup, I don't know what those cost now. Maybe some of you guys that have got them or just got one, put a link in the description below. How much a wood burner like that costs now? Is it $6,500 completely installed, or have they went up? I'm assuming they went up, but that's me. I buy the wood, and so this year it cost me $1,300 to keep this at 73 degrees and keep that at 50 some degrees. You couldn't touch that with propane. I think you guys would agree. Leave me a comment, some of you guys. Maybe we've got some propane lovers out there. I wish they'd put natural gas in, but they just don't have it up this far. So I'm burning wood, and I'm happy with it though. That way when the wife keeps it up to 73 and the little babies, they're all happy, and I don't have to complain too much and say, hey, we can't afford that propane. I just got to go out and cut a little more wood. So on that note, hope you liked the video. Hope you liked the rundown. A lot of talking, a lot of explaining, but that's how I do it. And hope you enjoyed it. Take care. God bless.